All right, so welcome again. Today we're going to be talking about shooting with a camera. We're going to be discussing the types of a camera, camera fundamentals, lenses, exposure, operation and handling, professional practice. Under the camera fundamentals, we're going to discuss the types, parts, and how camera works. Then under the lenses, we're going to discuss focal length, aperture, ISO. Under operations and handling, we're going to discuss settings, movement, composition. Under the professional practice, we're going to discuss workflow, audio, maintenance, and more. What is a camera? A camera is a device that records light to create still images or moving pictures. Seen through a camera versus the human eye. Now, the human eye continually adjusts to light. Now, when you look with your camera, you can see things the way you're supposed to see things. Now, if the light changes, your eye automatically changes. The camera also has something like that, especially when you put it in auto. But usually for filmmakers, it's good to put everything on manual. So you need to have an eye to know when light has changed so that you can now adjust by yourself. Then we're going to discuss types of cameras. We have the smartphone. The smartphone is a type of camera now that we can use to film what we want to do. We have the compact phones, the DSLR phones. We have the GoPro phones used for action movies. We have the portable fixed cameras. There are also high-end cameras, mirrorless cameras, and so on and so forth. While we have DSLR cameras and mirrorless cameras and use of interchangeable lenses. Now, professionally and specialty cameras. We have the cinema cameras, we have the broadcast studio cameras, we have the film cameras, drones. Now you have to choose the right camera for yourself. For beginners, please start with a mirrorless camera or a smartphone. It's low entry, and then use it. For filmmakers, try to use the cinema films or mirrorless cameras. For broadcast, they have the broadcast camera. For high-end, you have the high-end cameras. Basic parts of a camera. Now the camera has the lens, it has the body, it has the shutter, it has the aperture. Some of them, the aperture could be on the lens, could be on the body. We have the image sensors, we have the image processor. All this help to work to help you achieve your aperture, iris, your shutter speed. Now you could have a plate where you can put your memory card slot, your microphone jacks, your lens. There are so many other battery platforms, there are so many other things. So how does the camera work? It's simple. Light comes in through the lens, hits the mirror, and then establishes it on the shutter speed in the film, and it becomes a picture. That is basically how the camera works. So basically we can call it moving from light to fire. And that is why in the old days, you notice that when they want to develop the negative film, they try to do it in a place without light. And that is why now, if you want to shoot, it's usually good to know that you can basically not shoot without light. You need light to shoot. Now, lenses and choosing the proper lens. There are different types of lenses. We have the prime lenses, we have the zoom lenses. All these help to tell your story. Now, you can either use for a wide shot, you can use a wide lens. Wide lenses are lenses with lower numbers. Let's say from 10, 20, 24. We could use that to shoot a wide lens. Then, of course, for another set of wide lens, maybe not too big, maybe medium shots, could be 25, 35. Then normal is usually between 40 to 60. Then short telephoto lenses are like 70 to 105. And then telephoto lenses are like from 135 to 300 and plus. Now, prime lens does not adjust in lens numbers, in focal length numbers. It is a one focal length number. What that means is that if you have a 35mm lens, the prime lens is a 35mm lens. There is no other focal number that you can have. But if you have a zoom lens, for zoom lenses, you can actually move from a 35 to a 75 on the same lens by turning the zoom ring. We have the focal ring, sometimes we have the aperture ring on the lens, depending on the lens you're using. Now, there are several ways to achieve all these shots. Now, for the telephoto compression, now the background appears closer than the subject. Now, for the wide lens expansion, the object appears farther apart. What that means is, if you're shooting with a wide lens, it makes the object looks far from the object. But when you're shooting with a telephoto, it brings them together. They seem to be closer. Now, depth of field and aperture speed. Now, depth of field, you could have the shallow depth of field. That is where the wide aperture plus the longer focal length makes your background blur, and then gives it a cinematic separation. Now, deep focus, narrow aperture, wide lens, everything sharp, used in documentary and environmental style storytelling. What that means is that your aperture is quite open, let's say like 4.5, where everything is sharp, and then you can film with good light, and then you have everything in focus. Now, we have fast and slow lenses. Now, fast lenses are with aperture 1.4 to 1.8, while slow lenses are much higher. Now, lens choice by shot. Close-up. Close-up shots, you could use 85 to 105. Medium shots, 35 and to 50. Wide shots, you can go from, let's say, 18 to 16 to 24. While emotional tone, for shots, to create emotional tone, you can decide how you blend all of them. Now, when you're doing drama, you can learn to use more natural shots, 50 to 85. Action films usually use wide lenses because of a lot of shakes. For horror movies, we have a lot of distortions. For documentary, we use our aperture, everything is sharp, in focus, and then we are filming. All right, now, there are different kind of kit lenses you use professionally. I will just state them. So for a film, basically, there are lenses that we use, 24, 50, and 85. The 24 is used for wide snap shots, 50 for natural perspective shots, 85 for portraits and close-up. For documentary shots, we have 24 to 70 zoom. Now, it's versatile, you know, because it's documentary, things are not planned. You can't tell somebody, stop, let's shoot. You can easily zoom in and zoom out. Then we have 70 to 200 so that you can actually reach in and reach out. For budget startup, 18 to 55 kit lengths. Now, this is general purpose. Then 50 mm for low light portraits. Now, we have the exposure system, right? For the exposure system, we try to, that is to show how much light comes into the camera, and that is worked through the aperture, shutter speed, and ISO mix. What it means is that if you increase ISO to a certain level, you may lose certain things. So what you need to do is, for the ISO, you need to always keep it. When you're indoors, I usually like to stay between 200 and 400 maximum, except your camera has a native ISO system. And then when you're outside, you can go up to 800, depending on what and how you need to film. And when you're dealing with the aperture, you can, when you're shooting, if you want to create a bouquet shot, you can, if like for CUs, you can open aperture so that your background will be blurred. But if you want to establish the whole apartment, you can then put your aperture at like an average of minimum of 2.8, so that everyone in picture will be sharp. Then you can now narrow your aperture to like 8 or 16 if you want to have less light and everything in focus, and then everything is like a wide shot. So this is how you work. For shutter speed, if you want a fast shutter speed, you increase it like 1/1000, it becomes faster, and when it becomes faster, it gives you a very sharp image. But when you slow your shutter speed, it gives you a blur image. ISO and sensitivity and noise. Remember I said if you're doing ISO, I said if you do between 100 to 400 interior, noise is down. But once you're outside and you do 800, noise will still be down. But once you go above 3.2 or go as high as 3.2, whether you're outside or inside, you're going to have noise. So you need to know how to manage all of this, right? The way you manage all of them will help you. You can use the camera meters and histogram to know where the light is. If the histogram is more in the middle, it's a balanced picture. If it's a dark picture, it should tilt towards the left a little bit. If it's a bright picture, it should tilt towards the right a little bit. Now, depending on your image sensor, right, that shows what it actually attracts. Now, if your 36x24 is wide, I know when you're using a crop lens, that means it reduces your picture when it comes in. If it's not a crop lens, that means it exposes your picture wide. Your sensor basically is what helps you to actualize your resolution, your megapixels, manage your noise. These days they're having low noise cameras. It's because of the kind of sensor technology they have. So this helps you to shoot even with a low light. This helps you to achieve a no noise image. I'm going to talk about focus and autofocus. There's one thing you need to understand. I believe that as a filmmaker, you should always work with manual focus. In fact, you would have a focus assist working with you. It's probably when you're taking photos or you go for an event that you need to do the continuous focus or the autofocus so that it can help you focus on images and all that. Now, advanced focus techniques. You can rack focus, you can pull focus, you can hyperfocal, and there are different types of focus that you need to do. Especially rack focus is when you're moving in, you're racking with your hand on the lens. So you're turning the focal point as it's going, and then you can focus on something behind and then something in front. White balance and color control. White balance, basically, when you put it at auto white balance, you allow the camera to estimate and adjust continuously. Now, but white balance, when you come down from 2 something or 3 something is kind of warm, cold. 7,000 is cold. 5.6 is not neutral. Between 5.6, 5,000, those are neutral. Okay, so I was talking about the white balance. I've talked about the auto white balance. Preset balance, this is when you set preset balance for daylight shoot, cloudy shoots. Those are the ones that come sometimes with the camera. Then custom white balance is when you create a white balance that suits your style of shot or your kind of shots that you want to do. Camera models and shooting modes. These are different modes you have in the camera. You have the auto mode, program mode, aperture priority mode, shutter priority mode, manual mode. Our advice as a filmmaker, you shoot with the manual mode. Now, let's talk about frame rate, resolution, and recording format. Now, frame rate, we have the 24 frames per second. This is a cinematic feel, basically. Usually for cinematic standard and all that, it films for narrative storytelling. Now, the 25 plus 30 frames per second is for broadcast standards for TV and online content in PAR. Now, 50 to 60 is a higher frame rate where you can use for sports, use for smooth action footage. If you're shooting an action film, you use 50 to 60 frames per second. Then we can shoot for resolution. Resolution, we have 1K, 2K, 4K, 6K, 8K, higher resolutions and more. Now for codecs, these are the formats in which you record. Different devices have different formats, right? You can have the compressed format, which is H.264, H.265, XAVC. These are different compressed formats. But high quality formats are usually RAW, ProRes, B-RAW, RAW footages, and so on and so forth. So you can choose the one you want to choose. So we talk about the image stabilization. These are when you bring about some other equipment to help handle your camera. It's not right to shoot handheld and your camera is all shaky, but there are some instances that you can shoot handheld and let your camera be shaky. I would explain that. But some lenses come with stabilization in the lens. Some camera bodies come with stabilization. Some editors and editing suits have some stabilization applications they can use to stabilize footages. However, try to not shoot videos that are shaky. Now, proper camera handling. You can handle your camera using the hand placement, which is what I was talking about. Probably action films and all that, you use your hand. Then the body posture would help you also to know how to stand when you're holding cameras, how to use the strap for safety, and how to take care of your environment, because you may want to film and there are trip wires all around. So operating the camera in practice, you put on, make sure the power is on, the card is on inside the battery, the memory card, check it, then format the project, then format the card, then set the camera to the format you want your new project to have, then set up your resolution. Are you shooting 1K, 2K, 4K? Set your exposure, confirm that sound is working, and we roll. Now, there are support equipment that you need to use. There are filters that we need to put, there ND filters. That's when you're shooting outside to help reduce the light that comes in. We have the gimbals and the sliders to help manage shaky footages. We have zebra and false color to help you check where the highlights are too much and where is underexposed and overexposed. Then audio meter helps you to check how far the audio is going. Yeah, file management. While you are shooting, please make sure that you have extra hard drives. Remember, extra hard drives. So you have one hard drive, you have an extra hard drive, so that you copy your files into each and every one of them so that your file does not get missing. And then the working drive is used by the DIT to organize, synchronize, and arrange the files per day, per shoot, per scene. This helps easy access to the files and easy reach to it. And you have to learn to maintain your camera very well, in the sense that you need to learn to clean the glasses, clean the lenses, touch up, blow it for dust and the sensors, store the batteries at charge and a cool place. You know, make sure that your camera is just good. Treat it like a piece of equipment. You dust it, clean it very well, let it be clean. Now, like I've been discussing earlier, common mistakes beginners make. Shooting in auto is tricky, don't try it. Wrong white balance and shutter speed, shaky footage, mixed focus, wrong lens for the scene, ignoring sound and file backup. Now, all these things are mistakes that we do. Now, there are a lot of other exercises you will do when you go through the videos and watch this. So I believe that we've been able to talk about all you need to do. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.